Good evening. Welcome to QUT News.
Good evening.
A truck driver is fighting for his life in hospital after a dramatic crash on a major Melbourne freeway this morning. The driver was flung from the cabin of his vehicle 20 metres to the road below.
Not long after dawn, a crash on the busy CityLink tollway threw Melbourne into traffic chaos. In the wet conditions, a truck driver clipped a car, jackknifed, then flipped over the concrete barrier, leaving the truck dangling precariously. The driver was flung from the cabin, falling 20 metres to the street below. A nearby factory worker found the man, comforting him until the ambulance arrived.
I guess I did what any other first aid trained person would do, just make sure he was conscious and keep him calm and be there for him, I suppose, until paramedics could take over.
The witness said the truck driver was drifting in and out of consciousness. He suffered serious head and pelvic injuries. It appears he struck a light pole after being ejected from the cabin, partially breaking his fall. The driver of the car suffered minor injuries. Fire crews spent most of today working to clear the scene.
The truck, as you can see, is perched precariously on the freeway edge. We will need 2 cranes here.
Inbound lanes on the freeway were closed for morning peak hour, and major roads into the city were jammed up for most of the day. Catherine Tucker, QUT News.
Tony Abbott says he will ease cost of living pressures by lowering electricity and gas prices. But in his budget reply, the opposition leader didn't guarantee that every Australian will be better off if the coalition wins government in September.
Backed by his family, Mr Abbott pitched his words to win over Australian families.
We pledge ourselves to your service.
He outlined 5 key points to cut government spending by $4 billion a year. At the centre of the coalition's plan, the household carbon price compensation stays, but not the tax itself.
A coalition government will keep the current income tax thresholds and the current pension and benefit fortnightly rates while scrapping the carbon tax.
Yeah! An Abbott government would delay superannuation increases by 2 years. They planned massive cuts to public sector jobs, an end to the twice-yearly supplementary allowance to welfare recipients, and promise women they'll receive 26 weeks paid parental leave. The government's not surprised by the coalition plans.
Mr Abbott made clear he would hit who Liberal governments always hit: Australians on low and middle incomes.
And it is voodoo economics at its best.
Mr Abbott says he will keep most of the $43 billion in savings outlined in Treasurer Wayne Swan's budget, including scrapping the baby bonus. Chanel Roger, QUT News.
The funding of Brisbane's proposed Cross River Rail project is still uncertain, despite announcements by the Federal Treasurer and Transport Minister. Anthony Albanese says Labor's contribution was exactly what the minister asked for, but his Queensland counterpart is disputing that claim.
The Federal Treasurer Wayne Swan was in Brisbane today to talk up a major infrastructure project announced in this week's budget. The federal government has offered to contribute $715 million to joint fund the Cross River Rail project. But the Queensland Transport Minister Scott Emerson was notably absent from today's announcement.
This week, instead of attending this joint press conference to announce formally this exciting project, what we have is the Queensland government playing politics.
Mr Emerson says he knew nothing about it.
I was never part of anything for today. I don't know where Minister Albanese or Wayne Swan's making these claims. I'm not aware of anything.
The Cross River Rail is one of several Queensland infrastructure projects to be allocated funding in Wayne Swan's budget. Just days ago, the Queensland government said it wouldn't agree to the joint venture under the suggested federal funding model. But the federal minister says the funding had been agreed to.
Everything was agreed. The project to be delivered through an availability payment. The figures of $715 million from each government respectively.
Scott Emerson is sticking to his demand that the 2 governments pay half each for the project. But he says a large part of the federal offer includes tax concessions rather than actual new funds.
Because the Labor government won't exempt the whole project from GST payments, they'll only be paying 25% of this project.
Mr Emerson says the offer is unfair to Queensland taxpayers as it gives with one hand and takes away with the other. Mitchell Dunk, QUT News.
Queenslanders will be asked to help foot the bill for repairing flood damage. The proposed levy will raise $1 billion over 5 years.
As if living wasn't already expensive enough, get ready for a new tax. The Newman government says it needs more funds to cover flood prevention and repairs. It's considering a levy to be collected via household bills like rates. The Transport Minister says it's not yet a done deal.
So we've made no decision about that, but I can tell you it's a topic worth having a discussion about because resilience for those flood-affected areas is so important.
The Queensland Council of Social Services says a levy could work, but those on low incomes would need to be protected.
We've been asking for a whole-of-government approach to concessions, and that we believe that if there's going to be an implementation of a levy, that they seriously consider what concessions would be available for people on low income.
Local Government Minister David Crisafulli says the levy will only cause short-term pain to households. Some Queenslanders, however, disagree. Opposition leader Anastasia Palaszczuk says a tax for flood prevention and repair is not fair.
There is no need for the Newman government to put this extra big new tax onto families at this time.
Details of the levy are expected in next month's state budget. Julia Younger, QUT News.
One of Brisbane's most notorious road black spots is just days away from being declared safe. Council representatives today inspected the $1.9 million Fortitude Valley upgrade.
This is the scene where 76 accidents occurred over the past 5 years. And it's easy to see why, with Brisbane City Council's traffic cameras showing motorists taking dangerous risks.
It's been a very important project for Central Ward because this is a notorious black spot. There's been quite a number of injuries.
It's one of Brisbane's worst intersections from a safety point of view.
But federal government funding is about to change that. Now motorists heading east into the city won't be able to turn right from Gipp Street into Ann Street. Instead, the right turn entrance into Barry Parade will be modified as an alternative.
It'll allow the smooth flowing of traffic from the north side of Brisbane to the south side.
The $1.9 million upgrade was implemented to increase safety along the Gipp Street intersection in the heart of the Fortitude Valley. Work is due to be complete in 5 days. Louise Starkey, QUT News.
More than 1,000 people were at QUT Gardens Point campus today, celebrating Norway's Constitution Day.
Everyone was in a festive mood as the celebrations began with a street parade. Traditional dress, music and food were favourites of the day. This year QUT's Norwegian Student Club hosted activities which focused on chilling out.
Just sitting outside, enjoying good traditional Norwegian food and having a drink, chatting with your friends on a nice sunny day.
It was an event for all ages and everyone had their highlights.
It's just great to see, you know, the Norwegian spirit, I guess, and do the parade and everything.
Oh, the march, because we play for the march, my dad plays it.
Ice cream, brown cheese, and waffles with brown cheese.
Yeah. Today's activities are the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere, but next year marks the 200th commemorations, and celebrations are expected to be bigger than ever.
Maritza Munoz, QUT News.
In NRL, it's a local clash between the Broncos and the Titans at Suncorp Stadium. Brisbane's desperate to dig themselves out of a form slump.
If the Broncos' injury tally is anything to go by, the Titans must be odds-on favourites. Jordan Kahu will move into the centres and Lachlan Miranda will return to the wing to cover for the injured Justin Hodges. In Sydney, Souths are looking to extend the Tigers' 6-game losing streak tonight. Despite West star Benji Marshall being moved to the bench, the Rabbitohs aren't getting complacent.
It's about looking after the ball and making sure we get our plays on and defend the way we can. So again, we've got certain standards as a team, and if we do that well, then hopefully we get the right results.
In AFL, Essendon's Brent Stanton and Pat Ryder will return to the Bombers lineup against Brisbane on Saturday. But Courtney Dempsey won't be joining them, suspended for disciplinary reasons.
Courtney was in the rehab group, had a sore ankle,
and when people in the rehab group, we don't want them going out late at night.
And Collingwood midfielder Luke Ball will make his long-awaited return from a knee reconstruction against the Cats tomorrow night. John Healy, QUT News.
Time now for a look at the weather. It was a beautiful day across the southeast today. Brisbane and Ipswich were both fine and sunny with tops of 23 degrees. After a cool morning, temperatures reached 24 on the Gold and Sunshine Coasts. Around the nation tomorrow, Brisbane should peak at 23, Sydney at 20, a beautiful sunny day there. Canberra has a frosty morning in store, dropping 1 degree below freezing. Adelaide will have a low of 9, Hobart 7. The forecast for Queensland and Cairns will mostly be fine with tops of 29. It will be fine and partly cloudy in Mackay, Rockhampton and Longreach, mostly sunny and 24 in Bundaberg. The outlook for Brisbane over the next 3 days. Tomorrow will have a fine day with a top of 23. Sunday and Monday will both be a little cooler overnight, both dropping to 9 degrees. And that brings you up to date with the weather.
That's all the news we have for tonight.
We're back Monday night with more QUT web news. Good night.
Good night.